Hello guys, welcome to a new video. Some months ago the Tomb Raider team released 3 Tomb Raider ebooks, which was awesome because from what I saw online they are usually expensive. In this video I'm going to talk a bit about each one of the books and share with you my opinion about them. This book tells the story that passed between Tomb Raider 4 The Last Revelation and Tomb Raider Angel of the Darkness. Lara is rescued from the temple ruins by a man who claims to be the son of a famous archaeologist. The man thought Lara was exploring the temple looking for the Amulet of Power, and he wasn't the only one. 2 groups with different goals spend the entire adventure trying to kill her because they believe the same thing. One group are the Medists, who also want to find the amulet, and the other group are the Silent Ones, who don't want anyone to find the amulet. Lara then embarks on a new adventure in search of this artifact. In the end, she finds out that someone was using her in order to find the artifact and use it to his advantage. Lara manages to trick him and destroys the real one. Unfortunately, Lara sees an old friend being torn apart by the amulet's powers and ends up traumatized. This would explain the attitudes and behaviors of Lara in Tomb Raider Angel of the Darkness, but the author, out of nowhere, makes Lara stop being by herself and decides to visit a friend to cheer her up. And as we are expecting, that friend was Von Croy. Very briefly, this is the story of this book. The end bothers me because it doesn't fit with the beginning of the Tomb Raider Angel of the Darkness, where she is still traumatized and went to Werner. He was the one who asked her to visit him because he needed help. And I always thought her trauma was for being buried in the temple and not from seeing a friend die, because I guess she probably already saw that before. Probably, I don't know. Overall, the book entertained me. I liked the author's way of writing and the characterization of the characters. I didn't like the fact that it was too repetitive. In several parts they tried to kill Lara. 2 of them were with snakes, for example. There were also too many parts about them going to a hotel and going to get something to eat. The most memorable part is when Lara learns to dodge the raging rhino. The story of this book takes place after Tomb Raider Angel of the Darkness. Initially, Lara is on a mission for the CAA in exchange for having her record cleared after what happened to Von Croy. The mission consisted of recovering stolen artifacts. After this mission, Lara then enters a new adventure, which is the main story of this book. An old friend of Von Croy destroys his research about a cult and tries to contact Lara, but dies before he managed to do so. Lara gets his message after he's already dead, and also there's a man that appears in front of Lara and says he was the boyfriend of an old friend of Lara's, and asks for help to find her because she was missing. Because of those 2 people, Lara starts to investigate this cult and in the end, as expected, destroys it. I like the fact that this book mentions characters and artifacts from other games. That was very cool. Compared to the previous book, I found the story more interesting, perhaps because it's not repetitive like the other one. There were a few parts where I had some difficulty figuring out what was going on. It could be because English is not my native language, but I'm not sure. I had no problem with the other 2 books. I don't know what happened with this one. Maybe it's a more complicated English, maybe. I found some parts overly descriptive, and that annoyed me a little. As always, there was also a character who initially introduced himself as a friend, but later revealed himself to be an enemy. And finally, I didn't like Lara falling in love with another character and always throwing herself at him when he likes another character. In this part, she seems a little desperate and needy, and I think that's a bit out of character. I don't know, I just don't imagine her doing those things. This is the last book, if I'm not mistaken. It briefly mentions the adventures of the two previous books, but I don't remember mentioning any of the games, which is, in a way, it's normal because this book came out after Tomb Raider Angel of the Darkness, thus being the last story based on classic Lara. In this book, a friend of Lara's contacts her for help. Plans change and Lara meets him in an illegal hospital. He is injured and refuses to tell her the details of what was going on. The two meet with a religious hoarder, which asks Lara to find the various body parts of the Man of Bronze. Lara doesn't like him but decides to help, as an old enemy of Lara's was also chasing the body parts and killed someone important to her. About the story, I don't want to say much more to not give you spoilers. However, I have to say that once again I found some repetitive parts. The fact that Lara always fights a mutant every time she catches a body part, and that her enemy always hurts one of Lara's friends, so she wouldn't abandon them and go after him. I also thought that the segment passed in the hospital kinda drags a bit, more than it should, but it wasn't as repetitive as the first book. Overall, I liked it. My opinion of the three books is that they are not bad, but they are not amazing either. They are just fun to read. I think my favorite was the last one, The Man of Bronze, but I think the books are all pretty much on the same level for me. I'd like the first one better if it wasn't so repetitive, and the second one if Lara didn't have that weird crush for another character. And you, did you already read some of these books, or do you intend to read them in the future? Say it in the comments. I would love to know. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for new videos. And yeah, until next time, bye bye!